All right, so doing the Unit 7 test review. It's a little bit of Unit 9, so it's a little bit different. So first one says, which of the following are third degree binomials? Select all that apply. So the idea here is we want to pick the binomial. So remember, binomial only has two terms. So if we look, this one has two terms. That one's okay. This one has two terms. That one's okay. This one has two terms. This one's okay. This one has three terms. This one is not okay. This one is a trinomial, so we would get rid of this one. All right, so then we also have to find out which one is a third degree. So for third degree, that means the highest exponent sum is 3. So if I look at my exponent sums, I don't need to check this one because that one's already out. Here I've got 3, but here I've got a 3 and a 4. And 3 plus 4 is 7. So that's not third degree, that's seventh degree. Over here, for B, I've got a 2. This is a y to the 1. That's a 1, that's a 1. So I've got 3 versus 2. 3 is higher than 2, so that's going to be a third degree binomial. Here I've got 1 and 1 is 2. 1 and 2 is 3, so this is also a third degree binomial. So I'm going to pick those two choices. I'm going to pick both B and D. That one's just vocab. For question 2, we need to write this in standard form. So remember, standard form, we need the powers of x to go high to low. So I'm just going to search. Here I've got my most x's, so 7x to the 4th. Then I've got my second most x's is x to the 3rd. So since this is a positive, I'm going to write that as plus x, 3x to the 3rd. X squared is next. That's going to be a minus x squared. After that, I have just a regular x, so minus 5x. And then the number always comes last. So whatever pure number we have always goes last. And that's it. So again, a little bit of vocab stuff, not really any calculations. So all set with number 2. For 3, we have to simplify, write the answer in standard form. So again, I'm going to start with the highest x's I see, which is the x to the 3. So 3x to the 3 plus 4x to the 3 is 7x to the 3. Next, I got to find my x squareds. There's only one of them, so that's minus 9x squared. Then I'm going to find my x's. I got 7x and negative 11x. So 7 plus negative 11 is negative 4. Combining my like terms. And with my numbers, I've got 1 or negative 1 and positive 1, which is 0. I don't need to write the 0 if I don't want to. I may as well since I found it, though. So that's it. So combining our like terms for number 3. Similar for number 4, we can go ahead and distribute this negative sign first and then combine like terms. We also said in class, if you want, you can just straight up subtract them if you're comfortable with that. So minus x squared is negative x squared. Minus times minus is plus 3x. Minus times positive is minus 2. So if I go ahead and start with my highest power of x, it's this negative x squared. Next one I got is negative 5x plus 3x is minus 2x. And then my numbers come last. 7 minus 2 is 5. And there we go. So that's it with that one. Moving on to 5, we need to find the product. So for the product, this means multiply. So remember, we're just going to multiply. When we have a number or any term out front, we can just distribute. So when we distribute, we multiply the coefficients. So negative 7 times negative 12 is 14. And then we add the exponents. 2 plus 4 is 6. For the next one, negative 7 times regular 1 is negative 7. 2 plus 2 is 4. Negative 7 times negative 1 is positive 7. And then 2, there's no other y's, so we just leave that as y to the second. So there we go. We just distribute it. Not too bad. For 6, we need to find the product. So here we're going to either double distribute or multiply with the boxes. I'm going to do it both ways, so both ways would work out. If we double distribute, we're going to start with this 4x squared. And then multiply that all by x squared minus 3x plus 8. Then we're going to have the 6 and also multiply it by x squared minus 3x plus 8. So if we distribute here now, we get, again, just like the last one, 4 x squared times x squared is x to the fourth. We add up the exponents. 4 times negative 3 is negative 12. X to the second and x to the first is x to the third. 4 times 8 is 32. X squared. In green, we've got 6 times x squared is 6x squared. 6 times negative 3x is negative 18x. 6 times 8 is 48. So we'll find all of the like terms again. So I got x to the fourth is first. I have only one x to the third, so that's going to go next. I do have a couple x squareds, though, so I can add those up. So I can combine those as like terms. So 32 plus 6 is 38. I only have one regular x, and then my pure number, I only have one of those. So there's my answer. So if I want, I can multiply that out with the double distributive property. Not too crazy. If you want to use the boxes, we could do the boxes too. So I've got a 4x squared and a plus 6. That's my first term. And then x squared minus 3x plus 8 is my other term. Now, it doesn't matter which direction they go, so you can do them the way that I did them. Or if you want, you can go ahead and flip-flop it. As long as you've got then, instead of a 3 by 2, you'd have a 2 by 3. But when we multiply these out, we can see 4x squared times x squared is 4x to the fourth. 4x squared times negative 3x squared is 4x squared times negative 3x is negative 12. X squared times x is x to the third. 4x squared times 8 is 32x squared. 6 times x squared is 6x squared. 6 times negative 3x is negative 18x. And then at the end, 6 times 8 is 48. And I left everything color-coded just so you could see that everything would be the same as this. The only thing we'd have to do here is combine these two as like terms to get to this 38. So we'll get the same answer either way. So again, you can do it either way you want. Oops, my little button there. Either way you want, it's going to be correct either way. So that's going to be our answer. All right. For 7, we need the product of this expression. So 3y minus 6 quantity squared. So the answer is going to be 9y squared minus 18 times 2 is 36y, and then plus 36. So again, if you want, you can use the trick. So remember, that's a minus b quantity squared is a squared minus 2ab plus b squared, where here a is 3y, b is 6. So again, we can just use the trick. If you want, you can multiply it out either of the other ways. We just have to remember that this can be rewritten as 3y minus 6 times 3y minus 6. And this is how a lot of people prefer to do it in class, so that's fine if you want to do it this way. Again, I'm going to do it both ways. Well, all three ways, I guess. 3y times 3y minus 6, and then minus 6, 3y minus 6. We double distribute. 3y times 3y is 9y squared. 3y times negative 6 is negative 18y. Negative 6 times 3y is negative 18y. Negative 6 times negative 6 is 36. We can combine the like terms. In red, we still have the 9y squared. There's my negative 36y. And at the end, I've got plus 36. Again, if we'd rather do it with the boxes, we can do it with the boxes as well. If we do it with the boxes, we would have a 2 by 2. 3y minus 6 and another 3y minus 6. Get my colors up. So 3y times 3y is 9y squared. 3y times negative 6 is negative 18y. Negative 6 times 3y is negative 18y. And then negative 6 times negative 6 is regular 36. So again, that 9y squared stays the same. These two are going to combine as like terms. So minus 36y. And then in green, we just have the plus 36. So again, I got the same answer 3 different ways. It doesn't matter which way you do it. Whichever way you like it the best is the best way for you to do it. For number 8, again, kind of same idea. If we want, we can just write down the answer, 9x squared minus 4. Again, that would use the trick a plus b times a minus b is a squared minus b squared. Again, we'll double distribute again. So 3x minus 2 plus 2, 3x minus 2. We'll distribute. So 9x squared, 3 times 2 is minus 6x. Here we get a plus 6x when we distribute, and a minus 4. But this time the middle terms are going to cancel out when we combine them as like terms. So 9x squared minus 4. So again, same answer, not a big issue. If you want, you're more than welcome to, again, do it with the boxes. 3x plus 2, 3x minus 2. I'll keep my colors consistent again. So get 9x squared. 3x times 2 is 6x. Negative 2 times 3x is negative 6x. And then negative 2 times 2 is 4. Again, here we can see that these are going to cancel out. So we get 9x squared plus 0x minus 4. Or if we don't want to write the 0x, that's fine. 9x squared minus 4. So any one of these is totally fine. All right, that's the end for number 8. Again, I did that 3 different ways, but you can choose only one way. You only have to do it one way, whichever way you like the best. For 9, we have to get the greatest common factor. So the idea here is to first look at the variables and see what the lowest exponent is. So we can see that the lowest exponent is this y to the first. So we're going to GCF that out. So we're going to take out a y to the first on all of them. To do that, we're dividing everything by y to the first. So 3 minus 1 is going to be 2, so negative 25y squared. 2 minus 1 is going to be 1, so plus 15y. And then 1 minus 1 would be 0, so minus 5. Next thing, we have to decide what we can divide by. And it looks like we can divide them all by 5, just because there's a 5 here. And we can divide them all by 5, so that's the biggest number we can divide everything by. If you want to pick negative 5, that would also be okay. Some people like to make this first term positive. So minus 5y squared plus 3y minus 1. And then we're done. So the only thing we have to do is answer. It says, what is the greatest common factor? So the greatest common factor is this piece out here. So that's all you'd have to answer. So you could also just get to that without having to do all the work. If you can see that that's what you can divide them all by, that's what they just want for number 9. We're just trying to figure out the greatest common factor, just what we can divide them all by. I did the problem out in full just because I'm kind of used to doing that, and I know we're going to have to do that later. So, but 5y is the official final answer. For 10, factor out the greatest common factor from these polynomials. So now it says to factor that out. So now the answer is supposed to be this whole thing. So where we have the GCF and then something else over here. So we're going to do the same process. So we're going to look for the lowest exponent. And again, this is going to be a 1 because we have an x to the 1. So we're going to divide everything by x to the 1. So we get x, 6x squared, 3 minus 1 is 2, minus 12, 2 minus 1 is 1. And then these x's are going to cancel out. 1 minus 1 is 0, so I don't need to write the x's anymore. Now I need to divide. 18 is too much. 12 is still too much, but 6 will actually work. So I'm just going to divide everything by 6. So 6 divided by 6 would be 1. Don't need to write the 1. Negative 12 divided by 6 is negative 2. And then 18 divided by 6 is 3. And that's it. We've factored out the greatest common factor, so now we're done. So that's what we have to do. This time the whole expression is the answer, not just the 6x. All right, for 11, we have to factor. So it says, what is the factored form of x squared minus 3x minus 10? If you've got division at this point, x minus 5, x plus 2, and then you're set. What are we doing? So remember, this is where we had the little chart where we wanted to say, all right, we need to find things that multiply to negative 10 and then add up to negative 3. So we would try out maybe 1 and negative 10. That's negative 9, so I guessed wrong. It's okay. We're doing guess and check. We'll try 2 next. So 2 and negative 5. If we add those up, I should write this out. 1 plus negative 10 is negative 9. If I add those up, 2 plus negative 5 is negative 3. That works out. So those are my two numbers I want. So x plus 2, x minus 5. Again, you can write it either way. It doesn't matter. All right. So that's it with number 11. So kind of done with number 11. 12, we got the same thing. We have to have the factored form of this expression. We've done one of these before in class where we said we can kind of, because this is just y squared, we can just kind of tack some y's on the end. So let's see. So we're going to have x and an x. And let's see. I think 4 and 6 works out. So minus 6y plus 4y. So again, if you can see it, perfect. We'll just throw it down. If we don't see it, again, what we're doing is timesing to negative 24. And we have to add to negative 2. So I would try 1 and negative 24. If I add those up, I get negative 23. 2 is the next number to try, so 2 and negative 12. So 2 plus negative 12 is negative 10. That didn't work. I'll try 3. 3 times negative 8 is negative 24. So 3 plus negative 8 is negative 5. Still no good. I'll try 4. 4 plus negative 6 is negative 2. And it took me a lot of tries to get there, but I got there. That's the important thing. So x plus 4y, x minus 6y. And that's it. So we're at the end there. Again, you can jump right to the answer if you can see it. You may not even need to do all of these ones. You may be able to kind of jump around, but that's what we got for 12. All right, for 13, we have to factor the perfect square trinomial. Again, if you got it, you got it. If we want to go through the process, we would again make the chart. We're multiplying to get to 81. We need to add to negative 18 because that's in the middle. So 1 times 81, we add those up. We get 82. All right, no good. 2 doesn't work out because this isn't even. So I'm going to skip all the other even numbers. So 2 just doesn't work out. 3, so 81 divided by 3 is 27. So 3 plus 27 is 30. So that's still not right. 4, I know we can skip. 5 doesn't work out. 6 is even, we can skip it. 7, 81 divided by 7 doesn't work. 8's even, we can skip it. 9, well, 9 times 9 is 81. If I add those up, I get 18. I want negative 18, so I need negative 9 and negative 9. So negative 9 plus negative 9 is negative 18. And so I can get my other form of the answer, x minus 9 times x minus 9. Because I got 2 of them. Again, it's shorter to just write it as squared, but you can write it like this. So how did I do this one so fast? Well, this one is just like this. So we can see I've got this special form here where the middle is double. The squares are the ends. Oops. So 9 times 2 is 18, and 9 squared is 81. So that's how I can get to that one pretty fast. All right, still want that mark. All right, for 14, we have another perfect square trinomial. So again, since it's a perfect square trinomial, we know we're just going to get something squared. Square root of 49 is 7. 7 times 2 is 14, so I'm good. We can run it through again. We're multiplying to get to 49. We're adding to get to negative 14. So 1 and 49 would be 50. 2 doesn't work. 3 doesn't work. All the even numbers won't work. 5 doesn't work. 7 does work, and it's 7 times 7. 7 plus 7 is 14. So we want the negative versions. Negative 7 plus negative 7 is negative 14. So the other way to write it, x minus 7 times another x minus 7. And that's it. So pretty nice. Again, since it says it's a perfect square trinomial, we know it's going to be something squared at the end. So you could use that to your advantage. For 15, it says find the solutions of x squared minus x equals x by graphing. All right, I guess I'll bring the graph up. So we want to put in each side separately. So x squared minus x, right here. So x squared minus x, and then we also have x. So we put in each side separately, and we can see we do get two different answers. Kind of convenient because we have the function just x, or y equals x, that those two answers are the same, but we gotta be careful. Our final answer is going to be the x coordinates. So notice there's no y's anywhere in this question. So we would not pick any of the y coordinates. So even though these are the same number, we're just going to kind of cross those out and ignore them. And the answers are 0 and 2. So it's not a coordinate point 0, 2. It's just x equals 0 and then x equals 2. So those are the two answers. If you want to do it by hand, not too bad to do by hand. X squared minus x equals x, just minus x on both sides. X squared minus 2x equals 0. We can GCF out an x. And then use the zero product property to get x equals 0. X minus 2 equals 0. So plus 2 on both sides, x equals 2. So we could do it that way if we don't want to do it with graphing. Your choice. You can do it however you wish. There's a lot of other ways to do it, but those are the two probably common ways to do it. For 16, what are the coordinates of the vertex of this graph? So again, this is one that's going to be convenient to graph. So we got 1, 2, 8. All right, let me double check that I graphed it right. Plus, 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 plus. So no graph. So I'm going to zoom out, and I'm going to find my vertex right there. Because remember, the vertex is going to be the top or the bottom of the parabola. So what are the coordinates of the vertex? Well, coordinates of the vertex are -1, 7. So this is the vertex. This is the y-intercept, because it's where it's touching the y-axis. So I'm not picking that point. The other situation that we could come up with is, let's say this were a negative x squared. So now we have a whole bunch of points. Let's change the color to show that it's wrong, though. So this over here is not correct. This is just a different example. This is not the question. But we can see this is going to be the vertex. Because again, the vertex is allowed to either be the top or the bottom. This is the y-intercept. So that's where we're hitting the y-axis. And then these 2 points, the x-intercepts, remember these are the same as the zeros, or these are going to be the solutions to the equation. So these are the zeros of the function, are going to be here and here. So those are all the vocab words that go with each of the points, each of the special points on the parabola. We did not do the equation in class. If you do want to do the equation, I'll leave that up to you. The equation is negative b over 2a, where in this case a is 1, b is 2, and c is 8. X equals, so that means that x equals negative 2 over 2 times 1, which is negative 1. That makes sense. That's what we got. And then to figure out the y, we just plug in the negative 1. Negative 1 squared plus 2 times negative 1 plus 8. So that's going to be 1 minus 2 plus 8, y equals 7, and we get negative 1, 7. So if you want to do it by hand, again, we did not do it by hand in class. I don't even think we saw that formula on the little review guide that we did when we did A, B, and C with the quadratic formula. But we do have a formula if you do want to do it by hand. Probably most people are just going to graph it. If you graph it, just make sure you pick the right point. Don't pick any of the intercepts. If it says vertex, vertex is either the top or the bottom. So again, you either have a bottom or you have a top. And I think this is the last one. Which equation has only one real solution? Select all that apply. All right, so what we need to do is graph them, and we want to see we have one real solution. So that means that we want to intersect one time. So that's the plan. So let's see what we got. So let's see. We have to, again, graph each part separately. So here we have 4, 4, 1, and then 4x plus 1. 4, 4, 1, and then 4x plus 1. All right, so I see a couple dots, but if we zoom in, we can see they're only connecting at this one point. So this is only glancing once. Oops, I don't really like how that looks. So since it's just glancing, it's just tangent, we're not going to pick A. So A is not going to be correct because A only touches, oh, we are going to pick A. We want one real solution. Never mind. That's exactly what we want. So yeah, so we have this one intersection right here. So we're going to pick A. So A is good. Now this one does say select all that apply, so I do have to check all of them. So for B, we have 2, 1, 1, 1, 1. All right, 2, 1, 1, 1, 1. And again, we just hit that right there. We hit once. So that's going to be good too. All right, so B looks pretty good. So I'm going to pick B as well. Might as well just circle B right here. Same reason, we just hit one time, so we just hit once. That's B. C, 4x squared equals 1. All right. Now watch what happens when I put in 1. We don't get the graph, because remember, if we just have a number, we got to do y equals 1. And we can see there this one is wrong, because this one hits twice. All right, so this one's not right. So we're not going to pick C, because C hits twice. All right, then we got one more choice to check out. We got to label that as C. So 4, neg 1, neg 1. And then we had y equals 0. All right, and so again, this one's going to hit twice. So we can see we're intersecting twice, so we're not going to pick this one either. we got two intersections. So again, this one turns out those are the same as the zeros. Not always the case, because here they were up here at 1. They were trying to trick you because there's only one x-intercept here, but we're looking for the intersection between the two curves. So that's what we got for that. Possible to do them by hand. This is going to be beyond we did in class, so I'm going to skip that part for right now. So that's what we got. So that's the entirety of the review guide. So that's everything. So should be pretty decent. Should be pretty easy last one.